Hi. Hey, stop scrolling for a minute and just listen to what I have to say. Because what I have to say has the potential to change your life. And this is not a joke. Never give up. Never surrender. If you have a vision, if you have a dream, if you believe in something, if you're passionate about something, whatever that may be, follow that dream of yours. Follow that passion. Follow that dream. Follow your heart. Fully align with it. And realize that you can accomplish all of these things. The reason why most people don't get to that point is because of something I have said many times before. All of the external factors that we allow them to get to us. And then we end up forgetting about the things that we're really capable of doing when we really set our minds, heart, and soul into it. So hear me out. Because the weight of the words that I'm speaking here has wisdom in it, lived wisdom. You have the key to open endless doors to endless different possibilities and outcomes. You hold the key. You always had. You may not remember this, but you have the key. And you can use it at any given moment. That's the way life works. There are so many doors out there waiting to be opened, holding so many wonderful and beautiful outcomes that you may not be aware of. But there's this one little thing that you have to remember before that key shows up for you and you can actually use it, however you may want to use it. You have to remember who you are first. You not only have to remember who you are, but you have to believe in yourself like you have never done it before. You have to understand and accept the fact that none of this stuff that is outside of you, none of these external things, influences, ideas that were, I'm trying to think of the right word here, presented to you in perhaps a forceful manner in most instances, because that's how it was. When we're young and we're children, there are so many sacred things about ourselves that are actually violated right away. Because unfortunately, the way the world operates, the way the world is designed, society is structured. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, it's all the same everywhere. Is that we are not allowed to be ourselves. that is frowned upon it. So there's all this modus operandi operating underneath it all in a very subtle way that we don't realize. But that's how it actually works. And then we create this entire persona. And I've talked about this many, many times before. That is really not who you are. You are the thought process behind all of that. You are the presence. You are the awareness. You are that thing that always is and is always there no matter what. Regardless of how asleep you may be, perhaps, it doesn't matter. That part of you is always there. Doesn't matter. Absolutely doesn't matter. So it will never go away. It's always going to be a part of you. And that's the part of you that will sometimes allow you to listen to things like this and to the voice of reason, to that nagging, repeating feeling that keeps coming back around your life and telling you that something isn't right. There's got to be more to it than this. Because we didn't come here to be working on a 9 to 5, slave away until we're approaching old age and we reach old age. What for? What do we get from it? What do we really get from this life? That we get to keep it to ourselves and take it with us to wherever it is that we go when we abandon our physical form. Did you ever ask yourself that question? Because you should. Because that's the most important part of life, of all of it. Because all that you get here, all that you work so hard for, all the shiny trinkets, all the material things, all the money in the world, all the things that money can buy, none of that stuff will matter once you shed your physical form and you return to your origins and to what you truly are, which is consciousness, light, love, all of those things that so many people have talked about endlessly throughout the ages in the history of mankind, that so many teachers came to tell us about. And the sad reality of it all is that all of that fell into deaf ears. But there will always be those who will listen. Perhaps you are one of those people. And if that's the case, you should be proud of yourself now more than you ever have. Because you finally begin to understand and realize what really matters in this life. And yes, we need the money, we need the material things to live here, right? To be able to provide a roof over our heads, have food to eat, have a place to stay, and all of that. But that should never be the focus of our lives. I like that whole minimalist idea that a lot of people are kind of like doing these days. I think it's a cool thing. I guess some people finally understand that you don't have to have all of these things to be able to achieve some form of happiness, joy, and fulfillment in your life. You really don't. It's just that we are constantly exposed to all these ideas, all these ways of thinking, being, even feeling that are not really ours to begin with. And that's where the confusion sets in. That's why a lot of people feel this lack of purpose, meaning in their own lives. But what you have to understand is that purpose and meaning that perhaps you may be searching for, looking for, has always been there. It's always going to be there. Because that's you. It's who you are. You are the purpose. You are the meaning. You just have to remember that. And it's not that hard to do either. It's not rocket science. You don't have to sit there and meditate if you don't want to. That's an option. But that doesn't work for everybody. Some things don't work for everybody the way some people say it does. We can develop our own ways, our own means of doing certain things, connecting with the divine. Environments like this, right? Nature. Places like this that reminds us of how simple and yet beautiful creation truly is. None of these things here are worried about anything. They just are themselves throughout their entire existence. And it works perfectly fine for them. And if we did the same thing ourselves, it would work the same way for us. We have been conditioned so hard to worry about things. And most of the time, the things that we worry about are not even the things that should be something that you should be worried about. To be perfectly honest, we shouldn't be worried about anything. That's how you should be. And yeah, I know that is easier said than done. You may be thinking that to yourself. But that's because you're still operating under that mindset that is not quite your own. That's the reason why. Because when you truly begin to realize and remember who you are and what you are, you will understand that not only you will understand that, but you will feel it. And then you will know that all you need to do is trust the process, the flow of things, your life journey itself. And stop worrying about what came before and what may be around the corner next. Just allow things to be. And things will work itself out eventually. But you have to remember and utilize that awareness and presence that I always talk about. And remember, you hold the key. And that key can open an endless and countless amounts of doors that are out there for you to explore. It is up to you which door you open and which way you go and where you end up. That is on you and you alone. That is nobody else's business. That's your business. And this is why I say, that I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. This is you. This is your decision making. You are the deciding factor because you hold the key. You always have, and you always will. And this conversation may be too deep for some people, and that's okay though. You know, we all have our different stages in life, wisdom, learning, growth, experiences, and all that stuff. But believe me when I tell you, that's always going to be the case. And the moment that doubt, uncertainty, and all of these other feelings and things and emotions begin to creep back in, you could perhaps call those moments of weakness. Because most people usually always succumb to that and they don't know how to overcome it. Because this is not something that we were trained or told and taught how to do when these things happen in our lives, right? They're really quick to tell us how we should be, how we should think, how we should feel, what kind of person we should strive to be in this life, to follow and obey all the rules and all these things, right? They're really quick to tell us all these things, but nobody ever tells us what to do when challenges and adversities come into life and happen suddenly and out of nowhere due to whatever reasons, due to life itself doing its own thing, right? That's just how it is. Usually, most of the time, our parents are the ones that tell us these things and try to help us in that sense and kind of prepare us to be equipped to deal with a lot of these things. But a lot of the times, the parents have no clue either because they only know how to live lives their own way, the way they were taught. And that may not necessarily be the way that is the best way to handle and deal with things when these things actually surface and come up. It's that simple. We have to realize and understand these things. This is why I always encourage people to read. Understand yourself. Know who you truly are. Understand your own psychology. Where are those thoughts coming from? Where are those ideas coming from? Why am I feeling this way right now? Why do you feel lost sometimes? Why do you feel that you don't have a purpose, you don't have a meaning, that it's all pointless? Why do you feel that? You should be asking yourself those questions. Those questions are some heavy ones. And you hold the answers to all of those. But before those answers come and present themselves, you have to remember who you are. That's the key. So, never give up, never surrender. Keep going. Keep fighting for what you believe, striving for whatever it is that you want to do. Because eventually things will turn out. Eventually things will work out. But don't give up on yourself. That shouldn't be allowed at all, period. This is all I want to talk about today, my friends. If you like the channel, don't forget to leave a like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel grow and reach more people. And I will catch you all on the next one. Be safe and take care.